September 28, 2014, from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers got the ball first. In 3 plays into this game, Ben Roethlisberger was sacked for a 5-yard loss, and he fumbled, and it was recovered by Smith for the Buccaneers. So the Buccaneers would have the ball on the Pittsburgh 9-yard line. And on the second play from the drive, Mike Glennon found Mike Evans for a 7-yard touchdown that put the Bucs up 7-0. So 7-0 Tampa Bay, and now Pittsburgh would get the ball back with 13 minutes left in the first quarter. They would go 3 and out and punted the ball to Tampa, who took over on their own 45, and moments later, Murray came in to kick a 50-yard field goal, and the Bucs went up 10-0. So Tampa Bay led Pittsburgh 10-0 at this point, with about 10 minutes left in the first. It's Pittsburgh now started their drive on their own 20 and marched all the way to the Tampa Bay 7-yard line, but they would be forced to settle for a field goal as Suisham came in and kicked the 25-yarder to put the Steelers on the board, with the score now 10-3. As Tampa Bay led Pittsburgh by a touchdown. So now the Bucs had the ball with about 6 minutes left in the quarter, and they would end up punting the ball back to Pittsburgh, who got the ball with about 5 minutes left in the quarter, and the ball was on their own 40. They brought it down to the Tampa Bay 3-yard line. Then a false start would bring them back to the 8 for 2nd and 8, and then they lost 3 yards on a short screen pass. So it was 3rd and 11 from the Tampa Bay 11, and Ben Roethlisberger found Antonio Brown for an 11-yard touchdown pass. There was a penalty of unsportsmanlike conduct, but the touchdown would hold, and it was 10-10, so the score was now tied up in Pittsburgh. So the Buccaneers got the ball to bring the first quarter to a close, and they would open up the second quarter of this game as they had the ball on their own 47-yard line. So right there at midfield, but they would fail to get deep into Pittsburgh territory as they would end up punting the ball back to the Steelers. The Steelers now had the ball backed up against their own end zone on their own 7-yard line, but Ben Roethlisberger would drive them 93 yards in 13 plays in about 7.5 minutes, capped off by a 27-yard touchdown pass to Antonio Brown as the Steelers took the lead for the first time in this game, with the score now 17-10, Steelers over the Bucs. So now the Buccaneers got the ball with about 5 minutes left before halftime. The Bucs would fail to get anything going, and they punted the ball back to the Steelers, who now had the ball with less than 2 minutes left before halftime, and the ball was on their own 39. They made it all the way to the Tampa 26, but then Roethlisberger was sacked on 3rd and 6 for a 6-yard loss. But with just 4 seconds left from the 32, they would kick a field goal, a 50-yarder, but it was wide right as it was no good as Suisham missed, so the score remained 17-10 as the Steelers went into the locker room at halftime up by a touchdown over the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers started off the third quarter with the ball on their own 20-yard line, and they marched all the way down the field, 80 yards in 8 plays in just 2.5 minutes, capped off by a 3-yard touchdown run by Doug Martin, and that tied this game up at 17 apiece. So now the Steelers got the ball with 12.5 minutes left in the third, and they marched 80 yards, but in 10 plays in about 4.5 minutes, capped off by a 5-yard touchdown pass from Roethlisberger to Miller, as the Steelers took back the lead with the score now 24-17. So now Tampa Bay had the ball with a little less than 8 minutes left in the third. They brought the ball up to midfield, but on first down from the Pittsburgh 49, Glennon dropped back to pass, and he was intercepted by Allen. So Allen got the ball back for the Steelers. So the Steelers now had it with 4.5 minutes left in the third, but after entering Tampa territory, their drive would stall, and they would be forced to punt. So now the Bucs got the ball back with about a minute left in the quarters. They brought the third to a close as they were backed up deep in their own territory. So they started off the fourth on the 17-yard line of their own, and they ended up marching it all the way downfield as they got all the way down to the Pittsburgh 9-yard line, but will be forced to settle for a field goal as Murray came in to kick a 27-yarder to make this a 4-point game, with the score now 24-20 as the Steelers had the slight lead over the Bucs. And the Steelers will get the ball now and start their drive on the 20, but but although they made it across midfield and into Tampa territory, the drive would stall at the Tampa 45 and they would be forced to punt. So now the Bucs got the ball, trailing by 4 with 7 minutes left in the game, and they were on their own 25-yard line. They made it all the way down to the Pittsburgh 14-yard line, but instead of kicking a field goal, they would go for it on 4th and 10, and they turned the ball over on downs. And now with less than 2 minutes left in this game, it looked like Pittsburgh had it won, as the score was still 24-20. They had the ball on their own 14, but they failed to get a first down, and they would end up having to punt the ball. So they punted the ball to the Bucs. The Bucs had it on the Pittsburgh 46-yard line with 40 seconds left to play. First down was an incomplete pass, but then on second down from the Pittsburgh 46, Mike Glennon found Murphy for an incredible 41-yard reception, and that made it first and goal from the Pittsburgh 5-yard line. Mike Glennon rushed up and spiked the ball, so it would be 2nd and 5, or 2nd and goal from the 5. An incomplete pass made it 3rd down, so now it was 3rd and goal from the 5. Mike Glennon dropped back to pass, and he found Vincent Jackson in the end zone for the 5-yard touchdown that gave the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the lead by 3 points, with the score now 27-24, Bucs over the Steelers. And with only 7 seconds left to play, Pittsburgh would get the ball back at their own 20-yard line for one last play, but it wouldn't be enough as they just ladled it around and eventually fumbled it, and the game came to a close with the final score 27-24 as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go into Pittsburgh and upset the Steelers. And in this game, Mike Glennon was 21 for 42 with 302 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Ben Roethlisberger was 29 for 40 with 314 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. The game's leading rusher was Le'Veon Bell with 63 yards off of 19 carries. And the game's leading receiver was Antonio Brown with 131 yards off of 7 receptions, as well as 2 touchdowns. Levante David was the game's leading tackler with 12 tackles, 3 of which were for a loss. And the Bucs actually racked up 5 sacks as opposed to the Steelers' 1 sack. It's Johnson had 2 sacks, and Bowers, McCoy, and Solomon each had 1 sack for the Bucs. And the game's lone interception was for Allen of the Steelers. So the Bucs somehow, someway, miraculously pull this one out as they come from behind in what seemed like an impossible victory, but they did it as they win 27-24 in Pittsburgh. And the Buccaneers' record is now 1-3 as they get their first win of this season. And the Steelers now fall to 2-2 as they are now at 500. So the final score, Tampa Bay 27, Pittsburgh 24.